Hello, I'm making this video for some family members that want to know how I bake my cookies. So I'm going to bake these. I start with just a regular recipe. So I'm going to make these Toll House chocolate chip cookies. This is the one that I use. I've tried many recipes and this is the one that I use. And then I always start with good ingredients, and this is the flour that I use. It has protein in it. It's unbleached flour. It's a good quality flour. I've tried other flours and I do notice a slight difference in my cookies, but this is the flour I like to use. And this is the butter I use for my cookies. I've tried other butters and the same. You can use whatever ingredients that you want, but this is what I use when it calls for flour and butter. And baking soda, just make sure that your baking soda is fresh because it does make a difference on your cookies. And I use this mixer, but I start off with using this one, and then I change it to this one because I don't like to mix it too much because it does affect the way the cookies rise. And these are the pans that I use. I used to use this this lighter pan, and it's more silver, and my cookies were coming out flat. So I bought these Wilson pans. I bought them on Amazon, and let me just show you. I bought it so that it would fit in my oven and I can bake more cookies at one time. So these are some of my tools that I use, and that makes a difference. I do line my cookie sheet with parchment paper. I will show you how I do that. So I just wanted to start to let you know that the things that you use are very important for how your cookies are going to come out. Okay, I'm going to start my recipe. The recipe calls for 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, and I am doubling the recipe, so I have 4 1/2 cups of flour, and I have 2 cups of butter. The recipe calls for 1 cup. I have 2 cups of butter. I'm going to soften this butter in the microwave for about 35 to 40 seconds. And I'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to add my baking soda. The recipe asks for 1 teaspoon. I'm going to add 2 because I'm making it double batch. And for the salt, it says 1 teaspoon. I'm just going to put a heaping teaspoon. I'm not going to put 2. That's just not necessary, in my opinion. So I'm going to put all my dry ingredients and mix them up. My dry ingredients are my flour, my baking soda, and my salt. And so I'm going to stir that up. Okay, let me mix up my dry ingredients really well, because you want to make sure that your baking soda is mixed up really well in this flour. Okay. Then we're gonna put our butter into the mixer with our sugar, and we are going to get our wet ingredients mixed up and separately first. Okay, here is our butter softened, and oh, let me see. Okay, see how soft it is? Okay, we just want it really soft. And we're gonna add our sugar and mix that together. It's a 3/4 cup of regular sugar, and I'm doubling it, so I'm going to put that in twice. Okay, now I'm adding my brown sugar. I add everything in there, all my sugars to mix up with my butter. And the reason I like to do 2 batches is because it freezes well, and you don't have to bake all the cookies at one time. You can put some of your dough in the freezer and save it for as needed. And another thing, I don't really pack my sugar the way it says to. I don't like my cookies too sweet, but just sweet enough. Okay, so that's my 2. 3/4 cups of brown sugar, and let me stir that up and show you what it looks like. Okay, we got our butter and our sugars mixed up pretty good, and then I'm gonna add my vanilla and my eggs to this. So 1 teaspoon of vanilla, I'll add 2, and it says 2 eggs, so I will be adding 4 eggs because I'm doubling it. Okay, I added my vanilla and my eggs, and I'm gonna mix it together. And mix well. So if you don't have a mixer, you can certainly mix by hand. When I first started making these cookies, that's how I did it, mixing it by hand. Okay, now that I got this, the eggs mixed with the sugar and butter and vanilla, now I can pour in my dry ingredients and pour it in a little at a time. Sorry about the video, but do my best. Pour it in a little at a time, and then we're gonna blend that in. And we will keep adding to it, and once it thickens up into a dough, then I want to change my mixer. Okay, let me put the rest of this flour in, and then I will show you when I need to change this to my other hand. Okay, so when it looks really thick like this, that's when I want to change this tool out to to this one. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. It will make it easier to blend in the chocolate chips we're gonna put in there. Okay. Okay, I changed the tool and let me show you. And I scraped on all the edges. It's the spatula. Scraped it all down, and show you. It's pretty blended pretty well. So that's it. Sorry, you can't probably hear me. Yeah, it's pretty blended pretty well. So I can add my chocolate chips now. I have this really large bag of chocolate chips that I bought. So it calls for 12 ounces of chocolate chips. So I had to weigh my chocolate chips to make sure I don't put too many. So I'll add a double portion of chocolate chips. So I just poured in the 12 ounces of chocolate chips. I'm going to stir that together, and then I'll add the other 12 ounces. Okay, I have the last of the chocolate chips in here. I'm going to blend those in and make sure you look at your recipe, double check, make sure everything's in there. It calls for a cup of chopped nuts. I do not put nuts in my cookies, not these cookies, but you can if you'd like. So I got all my ingredients in there. I'm just gonna finish blending that together. I've got my cookie sheet ready, and my oven is preheating. So let me mix these up. Okay, you want to scrape the sides down when you're mixing. After you've mixed it a couple of times, you want to scrape the sides down, mix again. Just make sure that it's combined, all combined, nice and combined. Okay, now it looks ready to bake. Let's get it onto the cookie sheet. Okay, I have these two cookie scoops. I prefer this larger one. If you use the small one, you will get really small cookies. It's like a heaping teaspoon, and this is probably a heaping tablespoon. So I use this one. It's probably equal to 2 of these, and you would get nice plumper cookies with a heaping tablespoon. Okay, this is how my scoop scooped them out and just set them on the parchment paper, and they're ready to bake. Today I need a dozen chocolate chip, and so I can freeze the rest. I'm gonna make probably a few more, and then freeze the rest of the dough. I'll be right back. Okay, I wanted to show you. So you're gonna get a level scoop, and then you come out. See how it comes out round at the top? Well, if you keep it round like that, you know, if you make all your cookies round like that, they're gonna come out round. Higher from the top. Let me show you what I mean. I like to flatten them a little bit, like that. See? And then, and I'll show you the difference how they come out. So, just a minute. So, the difference is that when you don't flatten it, they'll look like that. And versus like this. A little larger, and it's the same scoop, the same amount of cookie dough, but they will look slightly different. Here, let me show you side by side how they look. So flattening, you get a wider cookie, versus not flattening, you get a rounder looking cookie. Okay, so I'm choosing to flatten mine a little so that it comes out like this versus round. And then let your cookies cool completely and put them in a airtight container. I usually just put mine in a Ziploc until I'm ready to put them in a box, a cookie box, or in a tray, or for whatever occasion. But they always do well in an airtight container. You can keep it. Okay, my oven is ready, so I'm gonna get these cookies baking. Be sure your oven is well, that your cookies are in the center rack. And so I'm gonna put my timer. Set my timer for it says bake 9 to 11 minutes. So timer, I'm gonna put 10 minutes. Okay, the cookies are baking nicely. I'm ready for them. Immediately after they come out, I am going to put them on that pizza pan to cool off. And I just wanted to let you know, so when they come out, they are still soft, so you have to be very careful when moving them over to cool. So don't be surprised if they're very, very soft when they come out. They don't harden until they cool off. Remember that. Okay. We left them in there for 10 minutes. Let me check to see. They look nice and brown. I think they're good. Okay, I moved them to this pizza pan and see how they look underneath. So they did well on 10 minutes. So now we can make some more. So this is how I make my chocolate chip cookies.